Hey guys, sorry I get this like half light sun thing going on. The sun shines at this time of the day and I can't do anything about it. But guys, I want to talk to y'all today a little bit about the Brawl King build for the Breaker. I don't really cover too much of it because I don't really play Brawl King on my main, but some of you guys might know I have an East character that I did make a Brawl King build on, and that's been my main there for the past, I'd say, 3 or so weeks. And it's a fresh account, so there's not much on it. I don't even have the 2 purple wealth runes. But last night we had a conversation on stream talking about whether or not I'd recommend Breaker to a new player. And I was saying that for both Breakers, I don't recommend it. But Brawl King specifically, I really don't recommend it for new players. And we got in a little conversation because the viewer that I was talking to was like, oh, why? I feel like it's decent for new players. The spec requirements aren't that high. The minimum spec is 1680 if you have purple wealth and blue wealth, right? So you don't even need the second purple wealth rune. And I went and kind of explained why I thought that. I think at a fundamental level, when you're thinking about a new player and like the class that they're going to play, right? And picking any class in general, you have to think about what makes the class a lot of fun. What makes the class, how does it work? And what part of the class makes it enjoyable to play. And for Brawl King Breaker, I think that is going into the Z form, right? Pressing your identity, dropping your big Eye of the Storm, then jumping in with your Z skill. And as a new player, it actually can get a little bit messy and dicey when doing that. And I'm going to go and show y'all my explanation for this in the video clip to follow. As always, guys, we talk about this stuff all the time on my stream. So if you guys aren't there, I stream every single night on twitch.tv/MisoXshiru. So hopefully I'll see you there. But if not, hopefully I see you guys on the next video. All right, guys, enjoy. Interesting. You'd recommend Sura over BK for new players? Yeah. I would recommend Sura over BK just because you don't need that many like runes or like anything for it, right? Like, yes, you're going to be doing less damage with lower crit. But the thing is, for Burger King, you need the spec for the class to feel, like, smooth. And you also need the wealth runes, right? So if you don't have the wealth runes, it's really tough. It's a lot easier to get the wealth runes now. But even then, like, it's still going to take you at least, like, a week or 2 to get them. Like, for example, I've been playing my Sura for 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks at this point, right? Basically since, like... Oh, not Sura. I keep saying Sura. I've been playing my BK for 2 to 3 weeks right now. And I still don't have a single purple wealth rune. Now, granted, I have missed pretty much every Lagoon Island out there. But the sea bounties... I have been working on them actively, and I haven't gotten all of them. I still have 3 more left, and you really need the wealth runes to kind of have the class feel good. And I also, like, I feel like the first character that you make, for the most part, probably won't end up being your main. I mean, that's kind of the way that that's what happened to me. I don't know how many of you guys, your first characters ended up being your main. But I think the number of people where that happens is very slim. So I think it's more important to play a character that's fun and comfortable and something that you can use to learn how to play the game. My first character was Bard, but I like Deathblade a lot more. Yeah, exactly. Same with me, right? My first 2 characters are Bard and Deathblade. And look where they are right now. I agree with your argument on wealth, but I think that 1680 spec is where the breakpoint for full channel 1000 fists is very easily doable. Demon Mind Supercharge is history not very cheap, expensive either. And here's the thing, right? Like, even me right now, my rotation's not terrible. And here's the thing that I've actually also noticed about Breaker as well. And especially as a new player, this is really tough. And I struggle on this right now, and I'm not a new player. And this happens to me all the time. So let's say you're on, what is it? 1680, right? You're taking this 1680 spec, right? That's what you need. And what do you need? Both purple wealth runes? 1x purple? Okay. 1x purple, right? Okay, we go here, and then 100 fists, we go purple wealth. So here's the problem, right? It's not about the difficulty of the class. It's about the fundamental way that class operates and the requirements that you need, right? So you say like, okay, you don't really need all that much requirements for a spec, right? Okay, that's totally fine. I understand that. Because the rotation will look like this, right? It's gonna be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hit this full thing. We hold down the 100 fists, and then we get that, right? That's in a perfect scenario. I have had plenty of scenarios where something like this ends up happening. I run into the boss, we do this, I hit like this, and the boss completely dodges me. Now I hit this, and then we go into this, and then now I'm SOL. And that's if I miss one, right? Of course, you say that's a very important skill. Fine, we go swap to another one, right? We go into this, right? Let's say we miss this. This, right? This. Okay, I'm still SOL. I literally don't have enough shit for this one. And then I have to wait forever for this one to come back up, right? Like, that's kind of what ends up happening for a new player, because even as an experienced player, there's a lot of times when that shit happens to me, but as a new player, that's going to happen to you way more often, because you don't know the attack patterns of the boss, you don't know, like, you know, a lot of the basics of the game. So even if you have, like, the minimum stats required or whatever, a class like this is extremely hard to fully execute. And God forbid you miss this one, right? Like, and again, as a new player, there's a high likelihood you might just miss this. So that's why, for me, when I'm recommending a new player to play a class, any class that is super highly dependent on like meter or like certain skills hitting to make sure you can get your attacks off, I wouldn't recommend. I would only recommend characters that, for the most part, if you're missing a skill or here or two, that's fine. It's not going to mess up your rotation. It's not going to do your steam. Like, it's going to lower your damage a little bit. But for a class like this, literally, if you miss this, your damage is falling to the bottom. And again, as a Surah breaker, right? You literally don't have to hit your attacks. You literally, the only thing you have to hit is your you know, your front. And even then, you don't even, like, as a new player, I think even if you don't hit the front, your floor is probably still better than the floor of this class if you're missing like some of those attacks. You were haters because you're a new player, front attack and G1 a con. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I don't even recommend either of them, right? In the video that I showed, like the image that I showed, I'd like, or where I put in the tier list, I would put Surah in C and Burger King in D. I wouldn't recommend either of them, but I would definitely recommend Surah over BK.